A unique opportunity for you this morning. Fox 45 is given the chance that is literally out of this world. Thanks to NASA, we are able to talk with local astronaut and commander of Expedition 43, Terry Virts, while he is aboard the International Space Station as he lives and works in space. Commander, so many questions for you that we have here. You have been in space for months now, and you've been working with an international crew. Now, you're part of a 15-year production here as the International Space Station continues to grow. In fact, that's happening this November. So what do you and the crew really mainly discuss all day?
Well, we discuss all kinds of things. Like you mentioned, we've been here for 4 months. I'm here with Italian astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti and Russian cosmonaut Anton Shkaplerov. And we're very good friends, and we try to have dinner or lunch together as often as we can. And topics range from what are we going to do when we get back to Earth to how did your day go that day? And I'm trying to explain baseball and football to them. So there's all different kinds of topics, as you can imagine.
Yeah, and of course, just looking at your attire right now, obviously a Baltimore fan right here from Columbia, Maryland, born, though, in our city of Baltimore. Love the O's jersey, so I'm sure that baseball is one of the topics right now. But let's get back to, before I get to that, I really want to talk to you about the research that the crew is doing. What are you guys most proud of that you're working on, part of this group?
What are we most proud of? Well, there's been so much different research that we've done. Just about every discipline from science is covered here. We're doing biology, human research. We're doing physics experiments. There's something on the outside called an alpha magnetic spectrometer that's looking for dark matter and dark energy in the universe. It's a really fascinating experiment. We're doing material science, things that can help produce better materials on Earth and also better spaceships. One in particular that I worked on is going to help make spaceship fuel tanks more efficient so we can get every drop of fuel out of them. So basically every different scientific discipline we've done here, and it's been fun. The thing I'm most proud about is the diversity of science that we've done.
I agree with that. And now I know that we were able to take you live just a few weeks ago while you were out on one of your 3 6-hour spacewalks out there, and you were working on things. Now, we could not tell what you were actually doing out there, but if you're out in space for 6-hour shifts, can you kind of describe that, what you're seeing from your perspective?
Man, I wish I could. The view from inboard the space station is unbelievable. We have several different windows, and there's one in particular called a cupola that has 7 windows that you're surrounded by, and the view from there is unbelievable. So I didn't think it could get better than that. But when I went outside and you're out in space and all you have is that thin visor between you and the universe and all of creation, it's truly amazing. The colors that I saw were colors that I'd never seen before, especially shades of blue. The sunrise and sunsets tend to last a long time because the orbit that we're in is kind of paralleling the direction of the sun, and so it was a little bit of thin blue for a long time during our night passes, and seeing those sunrises and sunsets were just remarkable. I wish I could describe it better, but it's one of those things that you have to do on your own.
Well, you've been doing a great job on social media sending out some of those samples, but I want to talk to you a little bit more about the gym that's on board. Now, I know that the International Space Station is compared to a 6-room house, but I also found out that there's a gym on board. It's not just so that you guys can stay in shape and look good while you're doing interviews. There's a little bit more to it. Tell us about that research involved.
That's a perfectly timed question. My crewmate, Samantha Cristoforetti, just floated by as she's going down there to work out right now. So we spend several hours every day doing aerobic and anaerobic exercises, basically weightlifting. There's no weight in space, but we use a vacuum system that kind of acts as a spring to generate weight. And that's very important to keep our bodies in shape. If you spend a lot of time in weightlessness, your muscles and your bones would atrophy. So through some diet, and we take vitamin D pills, but mainly the exercise that we do, we've learned after having 15 years of people coming to the space station that when we get back to Earth, we're in good shape. A little dizzy the first few days, but your body is very strong and able to spend time in space and get back to the Earth. And so it's a great accomplishment of the space station. It's proved that humans can live in space and then go to a planet and not only survive, but actually thrive and work and do well.
All right, Commander, I know that you're a father of two yourself. One last question for you right here. My children, 11 and 8-year-old, both had questions for you. One asked about the food because we saw one of your turkey sausage burritos floating on there, so we want to find out how good the food is. My 8-year-old wanted to know, do you ever push one of the wrong buttons there? Because there's so much that seems to be around you while you're floating around. Have you ever hit something wrong? And that's my last question for you.
Those are two great questions. The food is actually pretty good. It's much better than what I would cook if I were a bachelor. And the variety is pretty good. There's all different kinds of meat. We have vegetables, potatoes, pasta, desserts, fruits, nuts. So it's a pretty good variety of food. And if you're here for 6 months, that's really important to have something different so you're not eating the same thing every day. And as far as pushing the wrong button, the hardest part about being here is that every day, all day long, you're doing very sometimes tedious procedures. They're long procedures. You have to make sure that you're doing the right switch or right button constantly because you don't want to break anything. And of course, we're human and we make mistakes. And yes, I have pushed the wrong button. Thankfully, nothing bad has happened, and the mistakes that I've made have all been easily recovered. But it's something that you really have to pay attention to when you're up here for such a long period of time.
Commander, thank you so much for your questions. I do have a colleague of mine, Candace Dole, who's about to ask you some other questions about social media right now. Thank you.
Great. Hello, Candace.
Hi, Terry. I'm Candace, and I follow your tweets. Hi. So I follow your tweets, and just absolutely fascinating. What do you think when you tweet pictures of Maryland and in D.C.? You have to look at them with such pride, don't you?
It's really cool, for lack of a better word, to see your home from space, and it's very recognizable, especially the Chesapeake Bay. You can pick that out from hundreds of miles away. And Maryland's a beautiful state. The whole Earth is a beautiful Earth, and there's lots of different colors and aspects of all these different regions on the Earth. And now I recognize places on Earth by color from what I've seen in space, but Maryland is especially beautiful. It's been really white this winter. I think I picked a good time to be in space.
Let's talk about that shirt that you're wearing right there, that Orioles shirt, and I saw somebody gave one to you for your birthday while you were up there. If you could send a message to the O's who are training right now, what would you say?
I would say go O's. Best team in the American League East for the last 3 years, I think the most number of wins, and it's been so much fun being an Orioles fan the last few years with Buck and all the great players that we have. And there's lots and lots of fans out there. We're very proud of what you've done. And last year was great, but we're really looking forward to winning that last game of the year at the end of October.
Your mother and I have been sending messages back and forth on social media. Her last message to me this morning, he wanted to do this from the time he was born. I'm proud of the man he is, extremely down to earth for a guy who loves to fly so high. And that has to mean a lot to you, hearing that from Mom, right, Terry?
That's awesome. Yeah, Mom is always Mom, no matter how old you are, no matter what you do. And I know she's been very proud of me. And this is something I've wanted to do since I was a little kid. My mom and my dad, my stepdad, all worked at NASA Goddard there in Maryland. And so it's been kind of just flying and aviation and space has been something I've been interested in since I was a little kid.
Well, we are all proud of you. Congratulations on all of your success, and we look forward to many more tweets, posts, everything in between. Thanks so much, and we'll see you when you get back home.
Thank you very much. Hello to all the folks there in Maryland and Pennsylvania, Virginia, D.C., that area. Looking forward to coming back in a few months when I get back to Earth. And go O's.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes our event.